You might not think twice about blasting music through your headphones or even spending hours gaming with the volume up, but your ears definitely did. And once the damage is done, there's no turning back. Hi, I'm your host, Nisa Harira, and welcome to another episode of Gleneagles HealthCast. Today we're talking about something that doesn't get enough attention. Noise-Induced hearing loss, also known as NIHL. It's more common than you think, especially among younger people, and it's one of the few types of hearing loss that's completely preventable. Joining me is Dr. Purushotman, an ENT Surgeon from Gleneagles Hospital Penang, here to help us understand how loud is too loud, what warning signs to look out for, and how to keep your ears safe for the long run. Thank you so much for joining us today, Doctor.
Thank you for having me, Nisa. I think it's an important topic to discuss as most of us might not even realize it.
I totally agree with you, Doctor. And I think it's very important for us to go over this topic today. Thank you for joining us. And as always, stick around to the end as we'll be announcing this episode's quiz winner. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and your family to help spread awareness. Doctor, let's get started.
Sure.
Many people think hearing loss only affects older adults, but NIHL or noise-induced hearing loss can happen to even younger people. I think so, right, Doctor?
Yes, that's a great question, Nisa. Noise-induced hearing loss is actually refers to hearing loss due to damage to the delicate hair cells in the cochlea. And the cochlea is a spiral organ inside our inner ear, which is responsible for converting sound signals to electric signals so that can be interpreted by the brain as a sound.
I see. Even though they're tiny hair cells, I guess they actually play quite an important role, huh?
Yes.
So how does this damage happen? I heard that hearing loss can happen when you are exposed to either a loud sound or explosion or even over a long duration of time. Is that true, Doctor?
Yeah, both scenarios are true. Noise-induced hearing loss or NIHL can happen suddenly as a result of sudden exposure to gunshot, loud noise, firecrackers. In these scenarios, your hair cells are exposed to sudden noise and therefore undergo sudden degeneration and loss your hearing completely.
I see.
And far more commonly, NIHL is caused through gradual loss of hair cells inside the cochlea or degeneration of the hair cell itself. This is because of constant exposure to the environmental noise or to loud noise at workplace, or even more commonly now with our teenagers or even adults with the use of personal audio devices.
I see. That sounds quite serious, actually, Doctor. But I'd like to ask, is this damage actually permanent, and can the ear recover after exposure to loud sound?
Unfortunately, once these hair cells are exposed to loud noise and undergone degeneration, they do not grow back. The cochlea don't have that ability to regenerate the hair cells. This means that noise-induced hearing loss is permanent and irreversible.
I see. That sounds quite serious. Well, is there anything such as temporary hearing loss?
Temporary hearing loss can happen as a result of sudden exposure to loud noise. This is termed medically as temporary threshold shifting. And this typically lasts about 14 to 16 hours, 2 to 3 days. By 2 to 3 days, the patient should have recovered.
I see. What about if the sound is being repeated? Can this also affect them?
In a repeated loud noise, such an environment, these hair cells are exposed to high stimulus. Therefore, they are gradually degenerate, and the damage is accumulated over a period of time. Over months or years, they can actually attain complete hearing loss.
I see. That's quite worrying. That sounds quite serious. Doctor, does losing hearing like this actually cause any pain? And are there any warning signs that people should look out for?
Noise-induced hearing loss itself does not cause any pain. It's a silent and gradual process, and some people may notice ringing or buzzing in the sound, which we term as tinnitus. And it can be early sign of damage as well, but more commonly, people might find it difficult to follow conversation, and they might find it hard to hear in a noisy environment. And some people might be turning up the volume to hear. And these signs are the early signs in a child.
I see. I guess they won't realize it until it becomes more severe.
Correct.
So can I say awareness is actually important?
That's why the awareness of NIHL is important, so that people regularly exposed to loud environments are taking necessary action to prevent it, and also go for a regular checkup.
I see. Dr. Puru, earlier, you mentioned that repeated exposure to loud sounds can slowly damage our hearing. But in real life, what kind of sounds are we actually talking about? And what is actually considered as too loud?
That's really an important question, Nisa. In ambient sound or at a room sound, the loudness is about 60 decibels. When I mention decibels, that is how sound is measured. Decibel or dB is unique for the sound. And once you go beyond 85 decibels, that is too loud. And that's when the hair cells in the cochlea starts to get damaged. And environment like loud traffic or even power tools can easily reach up to 100 decibel.
I see, that's quite high. And I think people who wear headphones as well, right? That's quite high decibels.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Yeah. So headphones at a full volume can also easily reach 100 decibel, and exposure about like 1 hour or so can easily damage the hearing.
I see. That's actually quite concerning. I can actually imagine gaming falls into this too. This is because a lot of younger people spend hours playing with headsets. Is that something that we should actually be worried about?
Yes, definitely. In fact, WHO, World Health Organization, has issued a recent deadline on this. As a growing number of gamers, as much as like 3 billion worldwide, half of this young population are at risk of developing hearing loss as a result of constant exposure to loud noise with their headphones while they're gaming. Yeah.
I see. That's actually quite concerning. But apart from volume, the duration that they listen to or how long they are gaming, does that affect as well?
Yes. See, it's not just about the loudness of the noise, but also the duration. If the child or teenager is like constantly on the audio device or headset, and they're exposed to loud volume constantly over a period of time, this is definitely going to damage their hearing.
I see. I guess it puts the ear under a lot of stress. And most people probably don't even realize that the volume is actually too high. Everybody thinks that they are listening at a safe volume.
Yes, that's correct. Because this damage to the hearing happens over a gradual period of time. And often it's painless. I mean, most of the time it's painless. And the early symptoms might be very difficult to be picked up.
I see. I think that's quite crucial for us to know.
Yeah, so that the hearing loss can be prevented.
I see. I guess it goes back to hearing loud music or even noise or even spending hours with earbuds. They would expose themselves to all of these noises without realizing it would affect them in a long term. Correct me, I see. So I can say that it doesn't even come from one source, it's from multiple sources. And this prolonged consistent exposure can actually damage your hearing.
Yes, that's right. It's like also a slow wear and tear on your ears, and the effects are irreversible, which is why a small change in a daily habit can make a huge difference.
Dr. Puru, earlier you mentioned that an IHL or noise-induced hearing loss often happens without pain. So how would you know if someone, or even if they would know if they're starting to lose their hearing?
That's the tricky part, Nisa. Most people don't even notice it first because it happens gradually. And one of the earliest sign is difficulty in hearing in a noisy environment, struggling to follow conversation, or even like turning up TV volume or audio volume. Uh, Most often, people don't really realize that they are actually having this hearing loss because it happens at specific frequencies. So the rest of the hearing is remained preserved.
So, doctor, are these signs obvious or are they subtle?
Obviously, it can be very subtle and go unnoticeable, and many people think that when they're having this, it's just temporary or due to tiredness. But in reality, it might be an early stage of hearing loss.
And that it doesn't come with any pain at all?
No, obviously there is no any sort of pain, and that's what makes it so deceptive. You don't feel anything, and the damage is happening deep inside the ear, and where the hair cells slowly deteriorate.
I see. It sounds quite concerning. But some people also mention ringing in their ears. Is that related?
Yes, what we call as tinnitus, and what we mentioned earlier, perception of ringing sound in the ear, and it can be buzzing or hissing or even high pitched tone. Tinnitus can be one of the first warning sign in a NIHL.
So, doctor, tinnitus is actually a condition on its own, or is it part of hearing loss?
Good question, Isa. Tinnitus isn't a disease by itself. It's actually a symptom, and it can be either objective or subjective. In NIHL, we term that as like a subjective tinnitus, and noise exposure to high level suddenly can trigger this to happen, or over a period of time when they get exposed to loud noise, they can actually develop permanent tinnitus. And it's important to treat tinnitus seriously, especially if it's new or becoming persistent. Often it means that the ears have been stressed or damaged, and even if you are hearing still, seems fine.
I see. That actually sounds quite frustrating, doctor. So if someone hears ringing after a concert or even after a loud gaming session, should that be a red flag, and should that be something they should be paying attention to?
Absolutely. It's your ear's way of telling that they have had enough. If it happens once in a while, it's a warning. I'd suggest that you stay away from the loud environment. But if it happens frequently, or doesn't go away, it's a sign that you have to get your hearing tested and see an ENT surgeon. Get your accurate audiogram or hearing test done.
All right, Dr. Puru. I think a lot of us are now wondering how we can actually protect our hearing, especially in this world where sound is everywhere.
Yeah, you're right. The good news is noise-induced hearing loss, or NIHL, can actually be prevented. It starts with awareness and small adjustment in your daily habits. And one of the most important things is to understand that safe listening habits actually prevent this. And the general threshold is about like 85 decibels, which is already the volume of a typical powered stool or heavy traffic.
I see.
When it comes to using earphone or headphones, one useful guideline is 60-60 rule, which means using the earphone for 60% of the full volume at 60 minutes. After that, take some break and rest your ear. In that way, you preserve your hearing.
I see. I think that rule is actually pretty helpful. I think most people easily go past that 60% without even realizing it.
Yes, especially in a noisy environment. And people often increase the volume just to hear, thinking that it doesn't do any damage. But in reality, you're putting more stress to your cochlea. And in such environment, noise cancelling earphones might be helpful. Yeah.
I see. I think it can be quite a beneficial thing to have. But what about people who are constantly exposed to loud sounds, like musicians or those working in construction?
That's a very valid concern. In people who are working in such environment, especially like musicians or even people at heavy missionary workplace, they can actually use the special earmuffs or earplugs. some of these earmuffs or earplugs have active noise cancellations to help to reduce the damage to the cochlea. And even using bare earmuffs can actually reduce the noise level from 10 to 30 decibels below.
I see. I think that sounds quite helpful for those working in the industry.
And for the rest of us, it helps us to be mindful in everyday situation, at concerts, cinemas, or even during long gaming sessions. Notice how loud is your surrounding are. Then if you have to raise your voice just to speak to someone next to you, then move away from that environment. It's better to avoid that place to keep your ears safe.
I see. I couldn't agree more. So, do we have to avoid the things we enjoy? We don't have to, right? I guess it's all about knowing how to enjoy them safely.
Exactly. We want people to live fully and enjoy their experiences. And at the same time, it is important to protect our hearing because once that damage is done, it cannot be reversed. Prevention is really the key here.
Perfect. And I guess that's all the questions we have for today's episode. Thank you for such an educational session, Doctor.
You are very welcome, Nisa, and thank you for inviting me, giving me a platform to share my knowledge. I think that this is a growing issue, and I believe that a simple awareness can help our audience in the long run.
I truly agree with that, Doctor. I really think we could. And a very warm thank you to those who are watching. We hope that you've been listening to us at a safe volume. And we hope that you've learned some tips on how to protect your hearing. Now, for the moment that we've all been waiting for. Here are the winners of our last week's giveaway. Congratulations to those who won. Don't forget to DM us to claim your prize. And a very big thank you to everyone who participated. If you didn't win this round, there is always next time. And I guess that brings us to the end of this episode. Again, thank you for joining us on this eye-opening journey, and thank you to Dr. Puru for being with us today. We hope that we get to see you again real soon. In the meantime, don't forget to practice safe listening and remember the 60-60 rule. We hope to see you again in the next episode. Bye!
Bye.